Editing is a process used by producers during post-production of filming a media text. Editing involves the use of manipulating and rearranging shots filmed by producers in order to create the finished product. Special effects and non-diegetic sound may also be added to particular scenes in order to enhance the meanings encoded into them. The pioneer of editing is widely considered to be a magician known as George Méliès. Méliès was influenced by the cinematograph created by the Lumiere brothers. Méliès saw numerous possibilities for the cinematograph other than just for simple motion. As a result, he began to create a studio and numerous props dedicated to the production of filming. His first film, The Vanishing Lady, was produced in 1896. It was one of the earliest films to demonstrate an editing technique. The technique used by George Méliès was in-camera editing. In 1899, G.A. Smith produced the short film The Kiss in the Tunnel. It was one of the earliest films to use a form of narrative. It was also the first film to display the use of the fade-out. The fade-out was produced through taking advantage of a brief period of darkness which is produced when two pieces of film are put together. There are numerous different techniques which are used when editing. One of the earliest techniques used in cinema is in-camera editing. In-camera editing refers to the use of footage being shot in the order of how the narrative is structured. The opening scene would have to be filmed first, while the ending scene would have to be filmed last. In-camera editing has fallen out of use in recent history through the introduction of digital storage and editing. An editing technique which is often used even in modern cinema is montage. Montage was first used by the Russian director Lev Kuleshov in 1918. He's shown an image of a man and his reactions to a bowl of soup, a coffin, and a woman. There are three types of montage. French montage simply refers to the term editing. Soviet montage refers to the practice of juxtaposing different shots to create a new meaning. Hollywood montage is what most audiences are familiar with. It's used to display a narrative in a condensed amount of time. Parallel editing is another editing technique used in cinema. Parallel editing refers to the technique which involves cutting together two shots which are to occur simultaneously, although at separate locations or in different points of time. It was first used during Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith. French New Wave is an editing technique which does not conform to the traditional Hollywood editing conventions. French New Wave tends to lack continuity, uses a self-reflexive style, and relies on the use of jump cuts. French New Wave puts a lot more focus onto mise-en-scene, uses a smaller budget than most Hollywood films, and does not use colour as a result. An editing rule which is used throughout Hollywood cinema is continuity editing. Continuity editing refers to the system of cutting which is used to maintain continuity within a clear narrative. The main role of continuity editing is to ensure that the narrative of the film is told in chronological order. The advantage of continuity editing is that it allows the narrative to have a clear structure. Continuity editing also allows shot sequences to flow into each other with no inconsistency. A technique used throughout continuity editing is the 180-degree rule. The 180-degree camera rule refers to the guidelines centered on the spatial relationship which two characters share on screen. Passing the axis which connects the two characters is called crossing the line. Both cameras must face the center of the line as a result. Shot reverse shot is a technique which refers to the practice of the camera viewing one character to speak to another, while the next shot focuses on the other character's response or reaction to the first character. Shot reverse shot is often used in conjunction with the 180-degree camera rule. Another continuity editing technique is eyeline match. Eyeline match is a technique which refers to a character staring at an object, event, or person off screen, while the next shot shows what the character was looking at. Another technique used during continuity editing is match on action. Match on action refers to a character performing an action or stunt during one shot, while repeating it in the next one. This technique is often used during montage. A technique which has been used throughout the history of editing is transitions. Transitions refer to an effect which splits two clips apart. The most common transition used in Hollywood cinema is a straight cut. A straight cut refers to a transition which moves from one clip to another without any special effects. Despite its simplicity, it is a preferred form of transition due to the realism produced from it. Another transition used when editing is dissolving. Dissolving is where a shot fades off screen, while another fades in at the same time. The role of dissolving in editing is to show similarity or connection between two shots. Fading is another transition used when editing. Fading is where a shot slowly turns to black so that the following one will appear from the black. The role of fading when editing is to demonstrate a passage of time which has passed. The technique is often used to signify the ending of a montage. Wipe is a transition which demonstrates a creative effect. The effect that is demonstrated through the wipe is a shot being pushed off the screen by the following one. The shot can be pushed either horizontally or vertically. Editors prefer to have the shot pushed to the left, as the effect creates a sense of time being pushed forward. The wipe effect is often seen throughout the Star Wars franchise. There are many roles of editing throughout the media industry. One of these roles is to ensure that all unneeded footage is removed, while all the best shots taken are included into the final product. Another role of editing is to establish continuity throughout the narrative and the media text. The editor performs this by ensuring that each shot is placed in chronological order intended by the director. Another purpose of editing is to enhance the mood which the narrative is attempting to convey. The editor performs this through the use of non-diegetic sound and enhanced visual effects. The increased depth of the mood influences the overall audience reaction to the text. Other uses of editing are the inclusion of special effects and increased emphasis of camera angles during particular shots. A scene which demonstrates a wide range of editing techniques is the motel scene in Drive. The editing techniques demonstrated by the motel scene are mainly categories of continuous editing, due to the linear nature of the sequence. The 180 rule is used throughout the driver's conversation and the eventual attack on Blanche. This is demonstrated through the consistent focus on the relationship between the driver and Blanche throughout the scene. Shot reverse shot is used when the driver threatens Blanche to give him information about the Mafia. Each shot during the sequence focuses on the driver's perspective of the conversation before switching to Blanche's perspective.
I have no idea.
The eyeline match is used before the driver assaults Blanche. The technique is demonstrated when the driver is putting his leather gloves onto his hands. The shot is focused onto Blanche. Her unnerved expression is focused on the driver slowly placing his gloves on. The next shot then focuses on the driver, who now has his gloves on, heading towards Blanche. Eyeline match is demonstrated in the sequence as the first shot focuses on the character staring at an event, while the next shot focuses on the event that was being stared at. The intended meaning which the director, Nicholas Wren, wanted from the sequence was to demonstrate the spatial relationship between the driver and Blanche, and the dominance of the former throughout. The director performs this through the camera's concealment of the driver as he is putting his gloves on. The shot is focused onto Blanche's uneasy expression to the event. The effect of this is shown that the audience are intimidated by the driver when he is next on screen, as they have been put into Blanche's perspective throughout the shot.